Alright everyone, welcome back to another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video with Fat Phil. I have a bunch of topics. I want to finish off something I've seen for the Lightspeed bundles here today. Go through just some FAQs. You guys have a lot of questions about these Lightspeed bundles, you know, kind of coming at me, asking some stuff. So I'm going to try to answer all of your questions here, and hopefully we can get back to some content. I want to talk about some modding things. I want to talk through Bo-Katan, now that she's permanently in the journey guide. And then I would like to talk about relic 8s and 9s as well, and just when to use them and how your account should be treating that. My channel members have had a pretty good discussion going on at the time of recording about that stuff, and I thought it would be a good thing to kind of get that out in the channel. So we're going to try and get those out in the near future. But today, let's answer your questions on Lightspeed bundles. Let's give a shout out to our channel members, as always, for their continued support. If you're ever interested, you guys know where that link is. It's down below, along with a link to the Discord server. Please go check it out. Thank you all for keeping the faith. And shout out to, I'm not going to say who it was, so that way you guys don't go back, but one of my channel members, if you see your name here and you're like, hey, Phil, can you change that to something else? I'm more than happy to do that. You know, however you want to be represented on these things, more than happy to make that, you know, a reality. So thank you guys again. Let's get in here. Let's answer your questions on Lightspeed bundles. Well, of course it says start game. Come on now. Does this mean it's going to crash? There we go. All right. So the first thing I want to address here is for my free-to-play followers. I know it seems like we've been releasing a lot of content about, hey, encouraging you to spend money. Like, I get it. I'm sorry. It's just kind of the state of the account, state of the game. If you're free to play, the way that these bundles impact you is they don't. Realistically, they don't. They don't change anything about your process because you're not going to buy them. The only time Lightspeed bundles ever should impact anything you're doing in the game is if you're going to buy them. If you aren't going to buy them, then what the hell does it matter, right? You can complain that, oh, they're giving out this character, but it shouldn't impact what you do. And honestly, you can even exploit all these people who are buying them because they're going to be buying something that they don't really know how to use yet. You know, in some ways, it's like giving a 16-year-old a Ferrari. They're not going to know how to drive a Ferrari yet. Like, they're not going to have any idea how that car works because they haven't had any experience. And, you know, and this is just a funny analogy, and I'm not trying to put him on blast. It just was, you know, something funny he said. And this was, you know, shout out Teacher Man. So he just unlocked Jabba, and he was trying to go through Smuggler's Run 2, and he's like, hey, Phil, do you have a video on how to get through Smuggler's Run 2? Like, I'm struggling. Like, what Zetas and mods do I need? And I was like, dude, I, like, simmed it today, but, you know, next event, I'll, you know, put something out there on how to do it. But it kind of got me thinking, like, I laughed a little bit, but at the same time, I was like, you know what? That is an issue that's going to be creeping up more and more, is that with these bundles that they're selling, whether it's Hutt Cartel or, you know, Old Republic, Sith Empire, you know, all these various things that they're selling out here, you know, or even Scoundrels with, you know, Dr. Aphra, they're going to be releasing all these things that you guys aren't really going to know how to use them yet, you know, so if you're free to play and you're going up against somebody with this stuff, exploit the fact that they probably have no idea how that team works, or that they don't have the mods or the Zetas on them to really make them as big of a threat. Looking especially at those, the Sith Triumvirate, selling Traya, Nihilus, Scion. If you don't have all the Zetas on them, you don't have the Omicrons, you don't got your Savage Press or Darth Talon, that team does not work the same. Not saying it still isn't a good team, but if you don't have the right stuff on them, that team is not nearly as good, doesn't nearly do as much stuff. And even if you don't have the right mods, that team could fall apart against certain teams. So, I bring that up to say to you, bear in mind that the way you can exploit some of these guys is they're either going to overextend, or they're going to have these relic teams on defense, but because they're missing Zetas or mods, or they don't have the right Omicrons, they're a lot less of a threat. So as a free-to-play, exploit that. Either exploit the mistake they make on offense, that they drop battles because they don't have the right stuff, or exploit it defensively that you can get through with a lot cheaper of a team. I wanted to say that, and I'm not trying to put anybody on blast one way or the other, right? And Teacher Man, you know, I know, like, Smuggler's Run 2 is actually not as easy as it seems. Like, it is a very annoying event, and it does take you, like, it took me, I think, a little bit to completely master it, right? And then you get to the point where, I mean, now you get to sim it, which is so nice, because it is just an annoying event to go through. I know people with, like, Relic 8 Jabbas who still weren't able to fully auto that. Like, it's a pain. It is a pain to do that battle. So, wanted to bring that up at least there for the free-to-play followers. You know, not all hope is lost. But I don't think you have a as I've always said, as a free-to-play, you have a right to complain to a certain extent. They need to make sure that there's enough content to keep you around because you are a very important part of this game. But you can't be the sole voice that they listen to because you're not spending the money. So, take that with a grain of salt. The next question that I saw a lot of people asking about was, is Jedi Master Kenobi going to get a Lightspeed bundle? Right? And I just thought this was kind of interesting because I was looking at it and I was like, you know what? Like, we kind of already have gotten Lightspeed bundles for Jedi Master Kenobi. And so I'm going to pop open a screenshot here from the General Skywalker bundle. When you look here, you've got General Kenobi himself. You got Snips, who's not a requirement for Jedi Master Kenobi, but a key linchpin in his team. We got Clone Sergeant, Shaak Ti, and Magna Guard. So there's 5 characters right here on this page that you need for Kenobi in some way, shape, or form, right? That all play a very important role there. And then, if you actually flip over to the ship side of that, they also sold you the Negotiator. Let's make sure I get that screenshot up there. There's the Negotiator. So now, that's 6 things that you need for Kenobi. 5 legitimate Rex, and then, Snips as part of the team. So, right there, if you go to the, journey guide for Jedi Master Kenobi, like, they don't really need to make a, thing for him when they've already released a lot of his stuff via Lightspeed bundles. General Kenobi, Negotiator, right? Mace Windu and Ayla, I don't think have been sold in a bundle yet. Someone correct me, but I don't think they've been around for it. And Bo-Katan Kryze definitely hasn't been. Qui-Gon Jinn was in the Battle for Naboo Jedi Allies bundle. Magna Guard, we just showed you. Clone Sergeant, we just showed you. Wat Tambor is getting his own Lightspeed bundle. We don't know the date of that bundle yet. That came up a lot. We don't know when the Wat bundle is coming. They haven't said that yet, but going to help you with Kenobi. General Grievous has not been sold. Cad Bane, he's been in a couple of packs as a bounty hunter with Xanadu Blood, so a lot of you probably have him already. Cody hasn't been sold yet. Jango Fett definitely has been. Shaak Ti was just sold in that, the General Skywalker bundle. And then Grandmaster Yoda is a legendary, so he's not going to be in a bundle. So they've sold a good fair amount of these characters already, right? Like, a lot of this stuff has already been released to the, to us through Lightspeed bundles. So, like, they might make a whole new Kenobi one, but a lot of this has already been in the game, that if you've purchased these, you've probably already made progress towards Jedi Master Kenobi. And then the biggest news that you got was not only did they sell Wat Tambor, but Commander Tano, who was kind of the one piece that if you didn't have her, there was no reason to farm Kenobi. Now she's around, you can farm Kenobi a lot sooner. So, like, Kenobi hasn't had a legitimate Lightspeed bundle for him, but those things have been sold for other characters. So if you've bought those, you're kind of right there with Kenobi, and if you get the Commander Tano bundle, it's even better. So I don't know that when we would get another bundles, I don't know, but Kenobi kind of already has had some if you've purchased all the rest of them, right? The next question that, again, always comes up is, Phil, when are we getting more? Again, we have no idea. I would have thought that they would have pumped the brakes a little bit. And the question that they've been asking is, have they released too many? So, of the ones that they've released, I've only had problems with 2, right? Many of you know I don't like the Commander Tano bundle. I feel like selling her is just way too soon. There's better ways you could have done that. I felt like that was a little cheap. And then the Hutt Cartel bundle, you guys know I wasn't a fan of that either. I think Jabba's still much too recent of an addition to the game. He's still a highly coveted galactic legend that unlocks a lot of stuff, and I felt selling him was a little bit too soon. But Sith Eternal, the Old Republic, Jawas, Tuskens, Afra, the Sith Trio, I'm okay with all of those because they kind of fit more into that whole, like, Kylo Ren, Supreme Leader Kylo Ren type bundles where they're very popular characters that everybody wants to build. So now, here you go. Instead of spending your time doing that, go farm new stuff. Or they kind of fit into that Rey type Lightspeed bundle where you're not a very popular character. Nobody's really going after you. Let's try and cash in while we can, and you can still focus on new stuff, right? It's all about focusing on the newest things. So, I know a lot of you have also been asking, like, so I don't think it has been too many. I do think that outside of the Commander Tano and Jabba bundles, they've all been very good and targeted at getting you either access into that new content, like the Battle for Naboo packs that we got, or getting you factions that are going to save you time so you can work on other stuff, right? And the most important way to take advantage of Lightspeed bundles is not necessarily, like with this Jabba pack, with that Jabba bundle. The most important part of that isn't going and getting Jabba, even though that is important. It's what you're going to do because, it's what you're going to do with that gear, that signal data, that time that you didn't have to spend farming Jabba. The best way to take advantage of these packs is doing something that maybe you wouldn't have done because you bought yourself all this extra time. That maybe now's that time you go for Bo-Katan Mandalore. Now's maybe that time you go for Jedi Knight Cal Kestis. That's the kind of stuff that will make a difference. Maybe you go for Lord Vader or something, or you go for the Imperial Remnants, whatever it is, right? That you're going to go for something that otherwise maybe you wouldn't have done because you have those Lightspeed bundles and don't have to worry about it. So just take that, take everything with a grain of salt a little bit, but taking advantage of a bundle isn't just about unlocking Jabba or unlocking Rey or getting Kylo or Dr. Aphra. It's what you're going to do because you no longer have to worry about that character and that farm. So, I'm okay with that, right? Another question that I've been getting a lot recently is, what do I do about Zetas? What do I do about this? What do I do about that? And honestly, guys, I don't know that I have a good answer for you. I was hoping that they would have more Zeta packs, that they would have ways for you to get additional Zetas, and they really just don't. If there's one thing that maybe I could encourage you to do if you really need extra Zetas, and you're trying to only spend a few bucks, I mean, you can get an easy 10 Zetas out of the Hyperdrive bundle for 10 bucks. If you're trying to do it free to play, it's a lot more challenging of a task. Then you're probably looking at having to spend your raid currency there, which depending on how much of this you get, it's only a couple Zetas a week, but it's better than nothing. Zetas are something that's really hard to do as a free-to-play. Or I should say, if you're free-to-play, it doesn't matter. If you're not willing to spend on the Zetas, but you bought Lightspeed bundles, then you gotta live with that. But if you're trying to, there are some packs out there you can do. You can do some of that stuff, or you just have to use your Fleet Arena currency and only purchase Zetas out of that. Otherwise, unfortunately, I can't really help you, to be perfectly honest. Now, with the mod side of things, I absolutely can help. Modding these characters from the Lightspeed bundles is going to be very important, but it's more so about following the FatPhil mantra of general modding. If you want to best take advantage of these bundles, you need to focus on the mods that are going to help your entire account instead of just focusing on the mods that are going to help just Dr. Aphra or just Hondo or Morgan, right? I'm going to use this mod down here in the store that I bought today. So this mod right here, I bought this, was hoping that it would, it's okay, it's got defense percent, it's an offense mod, it's got some speed, we'll take a chance on it, we'll see what we can do. Thinking that, hey, if this rolls a lot of defense, I can put this, there's characters who would benefit from that. If it rolls the speed, they'll benefit. Obviously, you're taking a gamble because flat health isn't really helping anyone. And I think I ended up putting that mod on, did it go on Shin? No, it went on someone else. Who did it go on? Was it Sabine? Trying to think. I put it on, I know I put it on, oh no, it went on Kylo, that's right. Sorry, guys. Ended up here. So it got the 10 speed, flat offense, flat health, got an extra roll of defense. So not the greatest of mods. But had it rolled, again, had it rolled some of those extra stats, we could have put this on somebody who could benefit from it, right? But that's kind of the way that you can go through this, is find those mods that can work for, I went through, Shin and, Sabine and a bunch of characters who could benefit from a mod like that. So, if I can encourage you when you're looking at mods, think through every single option of who that mod could benefit, rather than just looking at it and say, like this one, hey, this could help Jolie Bindo. Well, if it doesn't roll the stats that help Jolie, then we're up Schitt's Creek without a paddle. So my plea for you is focus on the mods that are going to help you and your entire account and not just like a single character. And another example of that would be like this protection mod here. This is a pass for me, right? And smash or pass on mods. This is a pass. The only stat here that can help me, this is a health mod. So I would be focusing on a character who wants survivability or speed. If this doesn't roll 5 straight things of speed, this is a waste for me. And even then, who the hell's getting it? Like, I wouldn't, I don't really know. I wouldn't know off the top of my head. So if you're looking at a mod and you can't figure out who it should go on, then avoid, right? So when you're trying to buy mods or, figure out what mods to use for each of these characters in these bundles, don't focus on one character. Focus on, hey, I need an offense mod for XYZ people in my account. If this rolls this, I can put it here, and move it around. That's the way to think about the modding. Don't think of it as I need a mod for BT1 or Hondo or Jedi Knight Revan or Darth Revan or, Jolie or, Bastila Fallen. I need a good speed mod, and then we can figure out who it goes on, and you'll be a lot more successful because then you'll find those mods that you can kind of put in place. Because there's certain characters who they can go one way or the other. A character like Bastila Fallen or Bastila Shan. Let's go to Bastila Shan. A character like Bastila Shan, just for the sake of argument. She could benefit from potency, she can benefit from health, she can benefit from speed, she can benefit from protection. Like, there's a lot of stuff that she can do. She's a pretty versatile character in terms of the kind of mods that she wants. So you can use her as kind of this, all right, I don't need the perfect things on her. She just needs to have, decent ones there. Jedi Knight Revan, I just want to mod him. I just need him to be fast. I don't need anything else other than him to be fast. So yes, with these bundles, is it going to be hard to do that stuff? But if you're trying to get those things, this is the way you do it. The final thing I want to say about these Lightspeed bundles. You got to think of them like draft picks. If you're, for my American friends, think of them like draft picks. That most of the time when you're drafting a player, they're not going to be the most important player on your team immediately. Those rookies, a lot of times they're not the most important member of that team. The goal is in a short period of, in a year or two, they become a vital part of the organization. But most of the time with draft picks, obviously your first rounders are, they're trying to make that happen. But that most of the time, they're not the most important member of your team. That you're trying to build them into an important member, but it's not happening overnight. And if I can encourage you to think of Lightspeed bundles like that they're not meant to be the most important, those characters, whatever. They're not meant to be the most important part of your account right away. They're meant to be something that you can build into an important part. And so to kind of phrase that in a way that hopefully makes sense for you, when I purchased the Resistance bundle, right, I slowly built their mods. And I'm still working on it. Like, my Resistance still does not have great mods outside of a few characters, right? Zori, Resistance Hero Finn and Poe, they've got decent mods. But look at Finn and Poe Dameron and the rest of these guys. Like, still have a long way to go to figure out what mods are going to make the most sense there. But I focused on the ones that were going to make the biggest impacts on my account. Like Rey. Like the Finn, the Resistance bros. And then you kind of figure it out from there. It's still this, don't think that you got to do it all at once. Like my Phoenix, similar situation. There's still a lot to be desired here. I mean, like Sabine, Chopper, Hera, Kanan, like they've got some pretty mediocre mods all the way around, if we're being honest. Captain Rex, okay, he's got some pretty friggin' good mods. But, these guys, they're just, they're hanging out, And then, finally, we'll end it here, and then we'll move on. If we go to, like, Battle for Naboo, right? Look at Kit Fisto. Look at, Eth Koth. Like, those are going to move away once the Datacrons go away. Him and Plo Koon both. Plo Koon might hang around. We might make some switches. But, yeah. All I'm trying to, portray here, get across to you is that don't think this stuff is going to happen overnight. And that even at 11, almost 12 million GP, I still have a lot of characters that I need to fix their mods on. Because I recognize that not all of them are meant to be these first-round draft picks where they're immediate, massive impacts to my account. They're things that I need to work on over time to eventually make my account whole. Finally, I'll end it here. My Sana. I just completely ignored her. Where's she at? She's down here. Like, I just threw mods on her and left it go, right? I can't be bothered to try to figure out what the best mods are for her when I got Hondo, Afra, BT1 to mod, when I've got these other characters that need it. So, gonna leave you guys with that. Let me know your thoughts down below. Again, like, subscribe, comment. I love you all. May the Force be with you, and I'll see you in the next one. I promise we're going to hopefully get to do some content outside of Lightspeed bundles, but they've just been the most, they've been kind of cropping up all over the place, and I do have to cover it because I think it is important that you have the best information possible. Let me know if you're still watching. Wampa is king. And if you guys would like, I'll do some videos going through the characters you get out of those bundles and how you can go through finding the mods that are going to work for them. So, leave you with that. Love you all. See you in the next one. Cheers, my friends.